What if I told you that the loudest force in your life isn't the noise of the world, but the silence you've been avoiding? What if the key to transforming your destiny was not found in shouting your goals to everyone, not in broadcasting your ambitions, but in the quiet discipline of building in secret, away from the distractions, away from the applause, away from the critics? We live in a generation obsessed with noise, everyone announcing, everyone proving, everyone comparing. Social media has turned silence into suspicion. If you're not posting, they think you're not working. If you're not sharing, they assume you're standing still. But history tells a different story. The world's greatest achievers built their foundations in quiet obscurity, while the rest of the world was too distracted to notice. Think about Thomas Edison. He didn't stumble upon the light bulb in a moment of public spectacle. He failed more than 1,000 times in silence, in a lab no one cared to enter. People laughed, doubted, mocked, and yet he worked quietly without broadcasting every attempt. When he finally succeeded, the world called him a genius, but they never saw the years of silence that forged his brilliance. Or consider Abraham Lincoln. Before he became a name etched into history, before he held a divided nation together, he was a quiet man reading books by candlelight, working jobs no one admired, preparing in solitude. His greatness was not built on noise. It was built on relentless preparation in silence, until the world could no longer ignore his presence. The truth is this: silence is not weakness. Silence is power. Silence is the incubator where ideas are born, where strength is forged, where resilience is sharpened. Noise may get you attention, but silence gets you results. Too many people waste their energy trying to convince others of their potential. Instead of using that energy to build it, they speak when they should be working. They announce when they should be moving. They chase approval instead of chasing mastery. But the person who learns to keep quiet becomes dangerous because they're not distracted by opinions. They're not feeding their ego with validation. They're not slowing their growth by asking for permission. They move in silence, and then one day, their results speak so loudly that the world cannot deny them. Think of Henry Ford. When he envisioned an affordable automobile for every American family, experts called him crazy. They mocked him for dreaming beyond the horse and carriage. He didn't spend his life arguing with them. He didn't waste energy proving his point. He simply built. Quietly, consistently, stubbornly. And when the Model T rolled off the assembly line, the noise of his results silenced every critic. That is the power of keeping quiet. While others are distracted with noise, you are building in the shadows. While they are busy talking, you are busy transforming. And when you finally emerge, you don't need to explain, you don't need to prove, you don't need to convince because the evidence is undeniable. But silence requires discipline. It requires restraint in a world addicted to validation. It requires faith in your own vision when no one else sees it. And it requires courage to keep building when no one is applauding. Silence is not easy. Silence is not comfortable. Silence feels like obscurity. But obscurity is the forge where greatness is born. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine if he had gone on a campaign to prove them wrong with words. Instead, he retreated into his work, quietly sketching, quietly imagining, quietly creating. And then the day came when his vision exploded into the world Disneyland, a place that proved his imagination was limitless. The same critics who mocked him were now paying to enter the gates of his dreams. That is the reward of silence. To keep quiet is not to shrink. To keep quiet is not to hide. To keep quiet is to gather strength. To keep quiet is to train your spirit in private so that when you are tested in public, you cannot be broken. Ask yourself, are you working to be seen or are you working to be unstoppable? Are you addicted to applause or are you addicted to growth? Are you talking more than you're building, or are you building so powerfully that one day you'll never need to talk? The world does not reward noise. It rewards results. And the results belong to those who learn the ruthless art of silence, because silence is focus. Silence is clarity. Silence is preparation. The storm you build in silence becomes the thunder the world cannot ignore. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of focus. It is the sharpening of your blade while the world is dulling theirs in chatter. It is the decision to step back from the crowd so you can step into yourself. Look at the giants of history, the men and women who reshaped the world. Do you think they spent their days broadcasting their every move, updating the crowd on their progress, begging for encouragement? No, they were consumed with the work. They were possessed by their vision. They understood that noise dilutes power. That energy scattered in explanation is energy stolen from execution. Andrew Carnegie, a steel magnate who became one of the richest men in history, once said, "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do." Carnegie did not become a titan by convincing others with words. He became one by producing results so massive that his name was carved into the very foundations of industry. His empire was not built on noise, it was built on relentless, quiet discipline. Discipline is the true language of silence. Discipline is the daily act of showing up without needing applause. Discipline is writing when no one reads, lifting when no one watches, practicing when no one cheers. Discipline is the quiet refusal to settle for mediocrity. It is the voice inside you whispering, "Not yet. Keep going. You are not finished." And when you live in silence long enough, something extraordinary happens. You begin to detach from the opinions of the world. The noise no longer controls you. The doubt no longer discourages you. The praise no longer seduces you. You realize that everything you thought you needed from others you already had within you. The approval, the validation, the certainty. It was never out there. It was always in here. This is why silence transforms lives. It turns the search inward. While others look outside for permission, you look inside for strength. While others fight for attention, you fight for mastery. And mastery cannot be faked. Mastery is earned in the hidden hours, in the lonely nights, in the quiet mornings when the rest of the world is asleep. Consider the story of Nikola Tesla. While his rival Thomas Edison sought the spotlight, Tesla worked in obscurity, chasing visions so advanced that most could not even comprehend them. He lived in silence, often broke, often dismissed, but his ideas reshaped the future of energy and technology. The man died alone in a hotel room. His silence echoes across time-powered grids, radio, wireless transmission, all seeds of his quiet genius. Silence is not about hiding forever. It is about preparing until the day your results are too powerful to be hidden. Think of the seed buried in the soil. For weeks, for months, it grows where no one can see. To the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are anchoring, strength is building, life is forming. Then one day, it breaks through the ground. That quiet preparation erupts into undeniable growth. And the world finally sees what was always happening beneath the surface. That seed is you, and your silence is the soil. Every hour you invest in yourself without needing to announce, it is another root growing deep. Every morning you rise before dawn while the world sleeps is another layer of strength beneath the surface. Every day you choose work over noise, focus over distraction, creation over comparison. You are preparing for the day you break through. But here's the truth few want to accept. Silence is lonely. Silence is misunderstood. People will question you. They will wonder why you're not as visible, why you're not showing proof, why you're not chasing likes and recognition like everyone else. But that is their prison, not yours. Your silence is not emptiness, it is alignment. Your silence is not weakness, it is strength. And when they ask, what are you doing with your life? You will have no need to respond, because your life itself will be the answer. Remember this, lions do not announce when they hunt. They move quietly, strategically, patiently. The jungle does not hear them coming until it is too late. The noise comes only after the kill. In the same way, your work does not need to be seen while it is building. The noise will come when the results roar into existence. So keep quiet, build quietly, transform quietly, because when your results arrive, they will be louder than anything you could have ever said. Adaptability is the secret thread that runs through every story of greatness. The ability to adjust without losing your purpose, to pivot without losing your vision, to bend without breaking, that is the mark of someone destined to transform their life. And silence is where adaptability is mastered. The noisy person resists change because they are attached to how they appear. They want consistency in their image, not growth in their reality. But the quiet person is free. They are not chained to the opinions of others, not bound to the expectations of the crowd. In silence, they can reinvent, evolve, and expand without resistance. Henry Ford once said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." Ford knew the power of adaptability. His early businesses failed and collapsed, but he did not let the noise of failure define him. He stayed quiet, he stayed adaptable, and he refined his vision until the Model T rolled out of his factories and changed the world. Adaptability is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the wisdom to recognize that life is a river, not a wall. To stand rigid is to break. To flow is to survive. To adapt is to conquer. And the greatest fuel for adaptability is learning. Learning is the heartbeat of progress, and it thrives in silence. Because in silence, you listen, you observe, you absorb. The world speaks to those who are willing to hear beyond the noise. The lessons of history, wisdom of books, the quiet whispers of experience, these are treasures hidden in plain sight. Accessible only to those who train their mind to remain still long enough to receive them. Think of Abraham Lincoln. He was not born into privilege or wealth. He was self-taught, a student of silence. By candlelight, he read, studied, and learned. When the world dismissed him, he used rejection as education. And when destiny called, his wisdom, forged in quiet nights, led him to guide a fractured nation. Learning requires humility, the humility to admit you don't know, the humility to ask questions, the humility to remain silent when others boast. But that humility becomes the foundation for power, because when you learn, you expand. And when you expand, you cannot remain small. Silence sharpens the blade of your mind. It creates the mental clarity to cut through confusion, the calm to make decisive choices, the focus to master any skill. The noisy mind cannot learn because it is too busy defending its illusions. But the quiet mind learns relentlessly, and in learning, it becomes unstoppable. And so, piece by piece, habit by habit, moment by moment, silence transforms you. At first, the world does not notice. At first, your growth is invisible. But like a tree taking root underground, your strength builds where no eye can see. Until one day, the branches break through the surface, tall, unshakable, undeniable. The transformation is not sudden, it is steady. It is not loud, it is lasting. And when it happens, when your life finally blossoms, the same people who ignored you will ask how you did it. It will wonder where your strength came from, how your vision sharpened, how your success seemed inevitable. They will not realize it was built in silence day after day, year after year. While they were too busy chasing noise, silence is not emptiness, it is construction. It is the workshop of transformation, The forge where vision, discipline, resilience, gratitude, adaptability, and learning come together to create the person you were always meant to be. Silence is the art of becoming unstoppable, not by force, not by noise, not by convincing others, but by convincing yourself, by aligning your inner world so powerfully that the outer world has no choice but to adjust. When you master silence, you master patience, you stop rushing for recognition, because you know recognition without foundation is fleeting. You stop seeking approval, because you understand approval from others means nothing if you don't approve of yourself. You stop fearing rejection, because rejection becomes nothing more than redirection. The greats all understood this. Nikola Tesla spent years in quiet, envisioning inventions that the world was not ready for. Leonardo da Vinci, the genius of the Renaissance, spent countless hours alone, sketching, observing, experimenting long before the world celebrated his brilliance. Even the giants of business, like Andrew Carnegie and Rockefeller, knew that power was not found in talking but in thinking, in planning, in executing silently until the results spoke louder than any voice could. That is the secret. Results speak. Silence is not about hiding, it is about focusing so deeply that when you finally move, your results thunder across the earth. Noise is temporary. Results are permanent. Every day, ask yourself, do I want to be known for the noise I make today or the results I build tomorrow? Do I want to be remembered as someone who talked about change or as someone who lived it? You hold the pen to your story, and silence is the ink. With every quiet act of discipline, with every unseen hour of focus, with every silent sacrifice you make, you are writing the masterpiece of your life. The world may not see it today. They may not see it tomorrow. But one day, the pages will be complete, and your story will shine so brightly that no one can ignore it. Silence transforms you because it teaches you to listen to your vision, to your heart, to the call of greatness within you. And once you hear that call, there's no turning back, because you realize that the life you are meant to live does not require noise. It requires focus. It requires faith. It requires action. So build yourself quietly, guard your energy, protect your vision, focus on yourself, not others, and let your silence be the loudest roar. Because when the results come in, there will be no need to explain, no need to defend, no need to prove. The world will see, the world will know, the world will remember, and you quietly, patiently, relentlessly will have transformed your life.